A new player has entered the racing hardware market, RevoSim. They have launched an interesting 9Nm direct drive bundle for beginner or also advanced sim racers for well under 1,000 euros or US dollars. We've been able to try out the wheel and 100kg load cell pedals at events before, but now we have the hardware in the office on our own simulators for tweaking and testing. So should Fanatec, Thrustmaster, SimMagic, Moza and others be concerned? Are there any red flags? What has RevoSim surprised us with? We'll find out together in this video. Welcome back to Overtake, I'm Michel, and the category that RevoSim has chosen to start is in a good spot, I would say. It's slightly above the entry level, so you can show what you're capable of, but at the same time it's priced in such a way that it could also be interesting for beginners. Now let's talk first about RevoSim. It's a brand of the French company NACON, which publishes video games, but also manufactures hardware and peripherals. They offer everything from controllers and keyboards to gaming chairs. I just recently stumbled across this Switch 2 case from them and bought it in my local electronics market, so that's what they also do, this kind of stuff. And racing plays a big role at NACON, so they are again responsible for the WRC games. Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown is still being repaired after an unsuccessful launch, and there's a publishing deal with Rennsport for the console release later this year, and now they also have their own racing hardware. So let's take a look at what we have here, what it costs and what comparable bundles are available on the market. For 800 euros, the RevoSim bundle provides everything you need to start PC sim racing. A 9Nm direct drive wheelbase, a 300 diameter round wheel, and a 2-pedal set with 100kg load cell on the brake. It also includes this table clamp for desktop use. The unique selling point here is the phone holder and the Bluetooth connectivity, being able to communicate with the RevoSim app and offering you a selection of dashboards there in the app. Overall, considering what you get and the price, it's a very competitive offer that I would say nobody can match right now. But RevoSim also has to do this because the ecosystem and accessory options are naturally limited at the start of a new brand, and also software and telemetry support that we'll discuss in a moment. At the time of this video, the bundle is only available directly from NACON in their shop in the EU. It will also go on sale soon in the Americas and also Oceania and Australia. A brief summary of some alternatives. The Fanatec Gran Turismo DD Pro bundle costs roughly the same, even offers PlayStation compatibility, but unfortunately has very weak Hall sensor pedals, which I would only recommend to a limited extent if you are getting deeper into the hobby especially. Fanatec occasionally has attractive bundles on offer with CSL pedals, which I would recommend then. SimMagic recently launched the new Evo wheelbases, so if you put together a set with the 9Nm version and the P500 pedals, also 100kg load cell, you'll end up in a similar price range, maybe a little bit more expensive. Moza has one of the most popular wheelbases with the R9, and they often have attractive bundles as well, with comparable SRP pedals, also same range, the CSV2P wheel and also the table clamp that you have to buy extra. The price in the EU store is around 70 euros higher than the RevoSim. However, as just mentioned, Moza in particular now has the greatest range of wheels and add-ons. The quick release system used by RevoSim offers a little plot twist though, as it's the same one used by Moza and SimMagic, for example. This means that the use of third-party wheels should not be a problem if they work standalone. If they have a USB connection or the RJ connection, for example, which is possible with the Universal Hub from Moza, for example. On the PC, you can therefore make quite wild combinations thanks to this quick release. The RevoSim bundle components are also available separately. So with the wheelbase costing 550 euros, for example, including the phone holder. Next we will unbox, install and share our user experience with the RevoSim bundle, and then go into more detail about the individual components. If you like our content, we will be delighted to receive your thumbs up, free channel subscription and hitting that bell. Also check out overtake.gg, our website, where you can also enjoy a written version of this review. The packaging is high quality and well structured, I would say. NACON includes easy to understand printed quick guides for wheel, wheelbase and the pedals. More detailed manuals are also available on the NACON Gaming website. Yeah, then they also have very detailed YouTube tutorials for the new product, and in general, like, the product presentation is also worthy of a praise. Everything seems well-rounded and well thought out and presented. There are also customization options for the wheel and pedals. The package includes colored button caps and stickers. The large pedal plates, which I really like, are height adjustable and the angle can be adjusted from 60 to 90 degrees. You can also adjust the attachment to the pedal plate and the distance between the pedals according to your preferences. Therefore, it will also be possible to make a clutch extension, which will be also released soon by RevoSim. There are 9 elastomers with 3 different strengths that can be combined as desired, so you always use 3 of them. Here I have installed 3 red ones. That's the strongest combination, the most stiff pedal feel. The outer design of the wheelbase is very reminiscent of established manufacturers, I would say. RevoSim uses the slot or channel structure to allow for flexible mounting with T-nuts for bottom or side mounting. That's all possible. I also tried out the desk clamp on our table, so you should have a really strong and sturdy desk if you use that, especially with a 9Nm base. The screw connections of the clamp stuck out a lot, which could be annoying while driving depending on your leg size. And if you have the pedal standing freely on the ground, the rubber heels are no use either. Especially with hard elastomers, there's no chance the pedal set will just move left and right, so you have to find a way to kind of fix it in place if you think of using it like this. And yeah, of course, this is very individual, but I think that this set is already a class too high for desk use. In this respect, we fitted it to our SimLab P1X Pro cockpit. RevoSim recommends in the manual for bottom mount to, quote, connect the T-nuts directly to your cockpit once in the correct location, then tighten the screws, ensuring that the wheelbase is securely fixed in position. So you kind of slip it onto the T-nuts. That was actually more fiddly than expected, but ideally you only do it once. There is also a size comparison here with other wheelbases on our deck. Thus, clearance and height are important factors for your monitor position. I thought the 3.5mm jack on the back of the wheelbase was remarkable. I'm curious to see how it can be used. There's also a power supply port and RJ ports for the upcoming shifter, handbrake, and yeah, also for the standard pedals from RevoSim. There's also a USB port as well as Bluetooth and power button. We already touched on the aluminum quick release. It's a known and tested system, super sturdy, no flex. RevoSim has also added a small marker on top so that the wheel can be placed at the correct angle before you kind of snap it on. The RevoSim desktop software started up and installed smoothly. It is also necessary for performing updates and settings. One tip: the app's resolution can be changed if the window is too small for you. Currently, 4 profiles can be saved at the same time in the wheelbase and software. More is only possible by using the import and export function. Compared to the SimPro Manager from SimMagic, the options seem rather sparse. The same applies to the direct drive motor and force feedback parameters that you can set, where other brands offer more in their software. Like at Moza, you can define individual frequencies and stuff. However, as we will see shortly, it works quite well for the most titles here with the RevoSim wheelbase. Especially if you also use the mobile app, the software constantly asks you if you want to restore the profiles when you restart. This is still a known bug and should be fixed soon. What is also still to come is preset sharing via the NACON Gaming website. And here is the game library, and the small config button that you see sometimes tells us whether the titles already offer telemetry for our shift LEDs on the wheel and the phone dashboards, or if it's not possible yet. The selection here is still very limited. It's only Assetto Corsa Competizione, EA WRC, F124 and NACON's own WRC generations that are integrated so far. So far, no LEDs, no data, no telemetry for iRacing, no Ultimate nor F125. It's unfortunate that the software development and hardware launch aren't synchronized that way. Yeah, we'll see how quickly NACON delivers additional functions. Let's move on to the racing tests, and here I was actually pleasantly surprised by the hardware. It should basically work with all titles that support direct input without any major hiccups, even if, as mentioned, telemetry support is not yet available everywhere. An example of communicative force feedback and detail like ABS effects are the LMGT3 cars in Le Mans Ultimate. My testing ground here is, as mostly the bumpy Sebring in Germany, we would say Buckelpiste. And even with the basic settings, there is little to no complaint about here. If you largely turn off the filters in the wheel settings, it becomes a little grainy, but communicates very clearly what the car is doing. The motor in that sense is very similar in feel and character to the Moza R9 and Fanatec CSLDD wheelbases, if you need a reference. You can also feel this in the cogging test if you turn the shaft of the wheel when it's switched off to feel the transitions like in the magnetic field. The 300mm round wheel also sits well in the hand and is also very stable. It's wrapped in fox leather and has perforated handles. It has 12 mappable buttons, a rotary dial and a 4-way funky switch. The right rotary dial is especially loose and could use a bit more resistance. Although the metal gear shift pedals are not as precise as most magnetic shifters, they should work well enough for most sim racers, I would say. I didn't have any big problems with them. As the wheel is designed as a button box, you can see it will also be possible to attach other handles here, for example in D-shape or Formula style. In more advanced sim racing titles like Le Mans Ultimate or iRacing, you will quickly run out of buttons, I would say. If you want to adjust your TC settings, anti-roll bars, brake balance, mappings, etc. quickly. The only option in this case is then to use the in-game in-car menus, which can easily be mapped and controlled with this little funky switch that you have here on the left. I also had a lot of fun with Dirt Rally 2.0 and WRC, where the shape of the wheel also fits well. I took a closer look then at inertia and reactivity of the wheelbase, and I can report that there are no red flags. The new low inertia motors of the Simagic Evo are a step ahead here, and certainly even more perfectly suited for drifters and rally drivers, but what I felt with the RevoSim and how quickly I was able to adapt was perfectly fine. The pedal feel and the option to change the load cell kilograms in the profiles also played their part. In general, the 100 kg load cell brake with the 3 red elastomers is strong enough to be driven also with shoes. It is easy to modulate, and I personally think that everyone should be able to race with it competitively. There would also be enough screw points on the set in case you wanted to add some haptic motors, for instance. So you can drive well for quite a while with this set before investing again. F125 also felt superb in terms of both FFB and the pedals. I used the full 100 kg range and easily avoided locking up my front tires, so I could adapt to that very quickly while driving without ABS. And what you can also see here in the footage is our beautiful monitor that Philips Evnia sent us, so a little mini ad here in between. It's great for F1 with this wide field of view. It's a 240Hz OLED monitor. If you're interested, I've linked the 49-inch super ultra wide 49 M2 C8900 down below. Then I'll let my colleague Sven, who drives a lot of iRacing with his R9, take a spin in the BMW M2 CS Racing on the Nordschleife. Yeah, he adapted quite quickly too and had nothing but positive things to say about the RevoSim base. The weight transfer and tire load were noticeable and communicated smoothly. I ran another test in Assetto Corsa Competizione to make use of the dashboard, so I had the phone app once again. Honestly, I expected it to be a bit more laggy, but the delay is pretty low, as you can see in the footage. I like that you can adjust also the height. It's very flexible, so that it's either above or below the upper part of the wheel rim. And so far, the holder's also pretty solid once in place. It's a gimmick, but I can imagine that people will have fun with it. You can also place the phone there if you are expecting an important call or something. It will also be interesting if RevoSim ever releases a PS5 version of the wheelbase, as you could then also run dashboards for Gran Turismo. That's also an interesting topic that we asked the head of racing of NACON about, and he kinda admitted that NACON is a company that is already producing peripherals also for consoles, so there might be a good chance that at a later date they will announce also console compatible wheelbases and wheels. In any case, ACC also provided great feedback. You should reduce the in-game FFB a bit to avoid clipping and therefore losing some peak effects. I think I was like at 60 or 55 in-game FFB. Yeah, overall, however, 9Nm is a good sweet spot, providing enough power for smooth effects in most of the titles. Let's conclude and thus also get to the score for the very first PC racing bundle from RevoSim. This is a rock-solid set, very well designed and very fairly priced, I would say. We've already talked about the weaknesses and missing elements, especially on the software side. Everyone must weigh that up for themselves, but the pure hardware and the fun of using it is very high. We already have a real alternative to the established brands here, and the 9Nm bundle is a recommendation for both direct drive beginners and anyone looking to upgrade from older or weaker steering wheels or wheelbases. For me, it's a solid 4 out of 5. Positive are the force feedback, the pedal set that I really liked, the general stability of all the components and how sturdy they are, feels all just solid. We will continue to use the bundle in our office and update you if there is any difficulties in long-term use. However, as the components themselves are not major experimental new designs or anything and relied on tried and tested technology, I don't think there will be any major surprises. What do you think? Any questions? Let us know in the comments. If you're on a tight budget, we have a review of an even more affordable set, the Thrustmaster T598. It would also run on the PlayStation, not PC only, like the RevoSim bundle. So, see you next time. Bye bye!